Hey, what's up guys? Ryan here with 6th String Pro for another 5-Minute Friday. Today we're going to look at expanding your chord library by adding major and minor 7th chords. So if you're stuck with just playing open chords or just power chords, major and minor chords, this will open up a whole lot of options, a whole nother color palette to your playing. So we're going to look at both the major and minor 7 chords in a 6th string root position and a 5th string root position. So we'll start with the 6th string. So for the major 7 shape with the 6th string root, we're going to start here on the A, on the E string. And the shape looks like this. So you have the 5th fret of the E string, your D and G strings are on the 6th fret, and then your B string on the 5th fret. So that's a major 7. So you hear how that sounds quite a bit different than just a major and an A major chord. There's your A major, here's your A major 7. Slightly different. So in order to make this a minor 7 chord, our 3rd and our 7th need to come down a half step. So those are going to move from the 6th fret to the 5th fret. And I usually play it like this. My 2nd finger on the root note, and then I bar those 3, the D, G, and B strings, just like that. And then this A string gets muted by my top finger. So that's your minor 7. So going back and forth between those, you get your major 7 and your minor 7. So let's look at the same chords with the root being on the 5th string, on the A string. So we'll just stay here in the 5th, on the 5th fret. So this is going to be a D. So for our major 7, if you're familiar with like the power chord, kind of the same area, similar shape, but we're going to do the 5th fret there on the A string, the 7th fret on the D string, then the 6th fret on the G string, and the 7th fret on the B. So it sounds like this. So your D major sound is that, and then a D major 7. So your D major sound, and your D major 7. Totally different color, super cool. So again, in order to make this major 7 a minor 7, we need to lower the 3rd and the 7th of the chord just a half step. So our 3rd needs to go down a half step, and then our 7th needs to go down a half step. So here's our minor 7. So again, here's our major 7 and minor 7 together. Cool, so now you know the major 7 and the minor 7 in a root position, a 6th string root position, a 5th string root position. So the way I recommend learning these chords is the same way I recommend learning other chords, and that's just switching between them. So you can take your major 7 here and your minor 7. You can just switch between them. And visualize where your fingers need to go before you actually move them. And once that's good, just put a little bit of rhythm to it. And same thing with that 6th string root. The speed at which you do this doesn't really matter, so if that's too fast, just slow it down. You can use the metronome if you want, but you really don't have to as you're just learning these chord shapes. Once you are starting to feel more comfortable with these shapes, you can throw in a metronome. It's always good for time, or even better, playing along with some kind of drum track, some kind of drum groove, which you can get an app on your phone probably that have several different drum grooves, so you can just pick a slow jam and then just kind of do that same thing. It's always nice to be able to practice with a metronome at least, or a drum track, which is even better. It's just going to help your feel and your rhythm. So now you know your major 7 and your minor 7 in those two different root positions. There's other ways to play those, but those two are super common and they're going to come in really handy, and they're going to add a whole bunch of color to your playing. So that's it for today's 5-Minute Friday. If you liked it and you want to see more videos like this, just hit subscribe, and I'll see you next week.